we live? Yes. Hi. Good morning. Today is February the 3rd. So, and today's live will be about my January, what I have done, what's going on, and so on. So, and before I start about January, so I saw that I have few new followers on Instagram and on YouTube. So, and because it's like first live about this year, so I decided to go a little bit about with an introduction, and then we continue with my projects, my patterns, and so on. And also I had one, I post in a story, I have no idea what it's called, place for questions. And Judy asked me when and how I was introduced to knitting and crocheting, and at what age. So let's start with this part. So I'm Natalia, one person behind all the stuff, Natalia Yarn Craft. And I knit, I crochet, I write pattern for both crafts, and sometimes I do patterns, like 2 patterns at the same time with one design. One is for knitters, one pattern is for crocheters. So like you have one specific design, but you can choose your preferred craft to make this project. It's not like every pattern goes this way, but if I see like it's possible to do, I dive in and create patterns for both crafts. I did several already with modular knitting and crocheting. I have scarves for 2 crafts at the same time. I have cowls, and also I did color work with knitting and crochet, 2 patterns that look alike. I think, yeah. So about myself, I born in Russia, lived there till almost 25 years old, and then moved to Germany, and at some point together with my husband we moved to US, and then we moved through US from state to state several times, and right now I'm near Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm stay-home mom with my 3 boys, and yeah, crafting is my passion, and I try to do as much as I can, and it's also helped me during this time when it was lots of transition from one place to another, meeting new people, going some places, and I have always something with me to do, like little small project, like hat or socks or something. So it's always something with me that I can take and work on. How actually it started. So I think my mom introduced me to knitting at some point, maybe like 8-9 years old. I don't remember exactly because I didn't pick at that point. And then I took a 3 months course as I was about 12-13 years old. So from this point I start counting my years as a knitter. And it was like long course from the very beginning, what the stitches, how to cast on, what all this, yeah, you know, knit, purl, yarn overs and so. And then it evolved like a small project, lots of stitch patterns, how to do, for example, mittens, how to do socks, how to do part of a garment. And it wasn't like during this course a real size like cardigan or socks or something, but it was like mostly like a baby size or doll size things that we made, but we learned the technique, what is need to be done in this particular, for example, if we did socks, so how it started. I learned it from top down, so I never learned bottom to up at that point. So, for example, we take in socks. So this part is like calf. Then what we do for a heel, what we do for a toe, and so on. So all these parts was. All these parts are written in my notebook, and I still have this notebook. And for example, my stitch dictionary that I do in some of the posts, like bi-weekly, I think. So all these stitch patterns coming from my old notebook. So it was written, and when I did all these stitches, like 30 something plus years ago, I did have all these swatches, but of course after many times moved from one place to another, and I never had them with me. And last, I think couple years ago, I started making them, these little swatches, so just to have an idea what is actually written in this my old notebook to see. So, and last year I decided to start publishing these little stitch patterns on my grid, so you can see how this stitch looks like. All this description, and most of the time I try to include also a chart. For me personally, chart is way more easier to understand and see how it looks like, how it should be done. So I do prefer charts. But in my patterns, when I write, of course I include charts and written instructions also. And sometimes if charts not necessary, I just eliminate it. About crocheting, it was a little bit different for me. I think at some point my aunt introduced me how to crochet, and I think we did some kind of blanket out of squares, but it was so long ago. And then when I live in Germany and I start looking for people around me for crafters, and most of the time I was looking for knitters, but I met one person that she was good at knitting and crocheting, and I started seeing crochet not like old-fashioned doilies or something like this, but more like garments and interesting accessories and so. And I decided to learn how to crochet, and at that point was mostly like pictures and books or magazines or something. Not much of YouTube stuff that you can look for. So, and I learned how to crochet and start doing some project, and yeah, that's how it started, all this stuff. Yeah, and how it's involved in more, not like just doing knitting or crochet, but also do designing. It turns like, for example, many years ago when we got the opportunity to see international magazines, and we saw some, for example, Vogue knitting or something like this, and several magazines from Germany. It was, you can see a picture, we can read the instruction, but it wasn't possible to get yarn, for example, that was described in these magazines. And of course, what we have on hand, it usually was different what was needed, and I started to adjust some instruction to my size, to my taste. So adjusting from someone design, it's like a first and beginning step. And then like, again, it's more like next step. I have an idea and I want to do something specific, but I can't find a pattern for this. And I start thinking how I can do by myself. And next step, okay, some people saw what I have done and asking for a pattern, and I have no idea how to. I don't have a pattern because I made it up just as I was going. And when we live in Illinois, I joined a group of, it was a small group for knitters and crocheters, and we have like weekly meetings, and I start showing more my projects. They encourage me to start actually writing the patterns, but at that point was also several small children in my household, so it's not like easy to do sometimes. And later, when I moved to near Charlotte, North Carolina, and start finding new people here, and during knit nights met many people that also was seeing my work and asking what was going on, how I do this, and at some point in 2020 I decided, okay, this is a good starting point, let's do this. And I published my first pattern, so not exactly my first, but what is meant to publish as a first. It was a shawl, flame shawl with pockets, and because it was totally new ground for me, where to place this pattern and how to do this and so on. And I decided to go little step extra and place one pattern for mittens, fingerless mittens, just to see how everything work on Ravelry. And then after I published first and saw what needs to be done and what all these check marks need to be filled out and so on and so on. And then published my shawl, and so from this point I start adding more and more. And so for now I have also not only patterns on Ravelry, I have also on different platforms, just as extra other place too, so people can see, because I know some people have trouble with Ravelry. So my other things where I publish is Lovecraft, and recently I started doing also on Payhe, because Lovecraft latest thing was, I don't know, it was crazy for me. So, I did last year started my website, so all the things that I have, everything about my crafting journey and my patterns, it's on the website. So, and I also do some small videos about specific techniques, so show people how I did this and this and this. For example, I have a couple stitches, and I did also Fair Isle and some other videos. So it's all the videos, of course, on YouTube. And so this is like short version of my journey as a knitters, crocheters, as a designer for both crafts. Okay, speaking about designs, actually, just yesterday, no, 2 days ago, I think, on the 1st, I published my new design. This is a Rusty Keyhole Cowl. Okay, let's do this up here. So it's a simple, like a tube style cowl. So you work in a round, top down. You need 1 skein of DK weight yarn. I used this is King fiber, King with a QING fiber, but I think this is like a old, the old style label they have. Right now, a little bit new rebranding. They did rebranding it. All this thing looks different, but anyway, merino DK weight, and you see the main color is variegated yarn. Couple months ago, I think I show you in one of the live chats several swatches that I was doing to apply for some calls for submissions for different magazines or yarn companies. So, and I did show you guys this swatch. Maybe if you saw my what was the month recap of the May. So if you wanna jump on YouTube back and see some previous live chats, so you can do it. So anyway, this was the swatch that I did for it was called for submission for some magazine, and I like my idea. It didn't get through magazine, but so it was like in the back of my head, I need to do it. And just very beginning of January, I finished my big project and I needed something small to carry to a knit night, and I decided, okay, I will do this cowl right now. And it is cable style. That is the actually name of its keyhole cable. That's why the name came from the whole design. So keyhole hole, and it's a cable. When you cross, you stitches 2 stitches right, 2 stitches left, and then back, 2 stitches left, 2 stitches right. So it's pretty easy cable, and it's go all around of this like a tube, yeah. But the fun part is, of course, mohair edge and mohair stitches here. So for this part I used LRA Silky Kit. It's lace, it's pretty thin, it's a lace mohair, but I hold it double. So if you have a little bit thicker mohair, not like this, so you can use 1 strand. I add this note to the pattern. So you see how it's 2 together for this yarn in comparison to only 1 strand of this. And so because gauge of mohair is a little bit different in comparison to merino, so you see this like going this way here, and that's, I like this because when you wear it, it's nice on your body, and it's this edge not like curling and stay in place here. Yeah, and these parts, all these extra stitches that I made, it is made using, you can choose, so I add to the pattern 2 ways, and I made 2 videos how you can do it. One is using crochet hook, and it's called surface slip stitch, and a second way you can use your embroidery needle and go like a embroidery stitch. It's called embroidery chain stitch. The result is absolutely the same. You will create this little chain on top of knitted fabric. So all 2 videos that I made already on YouTube, and I think already posted there on Instagram, in an Instagram grid. So you can find them. Short version on Instagram and normal version on YouTube. Okay, so pattern is already published. I have only few pictures because I plan to do a little photo shoot this week, but we have crazy rainy, grayish, and yeah, gloomy day, so it's like impossible to go outside for a couple of good pictures. So after we have good weather, I will shoot a couple more to show this. But anyway, a pattern was already published, and it's on Ravelry and Payhip. At some point I will add also on Lovecraft if they allow me go through their loops. So yeah, quick, kind of simple if you know how to do knitting in a round, how to do cables, and if you want to learn something new like doing these stitches over the knitted fabric. So this is project for you. Okay, I think that's it about this thing. And let's move to next about designing. And so I did already several live chats, and I talked through several of them about inTandem magazine. So, and I will continue to do it because we're working on this big project. So inTandem is magazine that will be start publishing in fall, and we're working right now on it's several designers, in a group of several designers. So and we're working right now on 4 issues. It will be 3 for knitters and 1 for crocheters. So it will be fall, winter, spring, because it will be last for knitters, spring more like spring summer for knitters, and last is for crocheters. So it will be more like a spring summer also for crocheters. So, and I will be doing 2 designs, one in a winter issue and one in summer crocheters for crocheters. So last month I was working on my sample that I need to finally to finish for a winter issue, and I was like so close to finish, but it didn't happen last month. So, but at the beginning of the January, I finally finished my sample. Very happy how it's turned out, and I was writing the pattern, and because this is pattern not my self-published patterns, so I need to follow specific style guide, and this was a little bit like adjustment for me to put everything not my way, but the way that will be all the patterns in this magazine. So it was like, first it was small things like, for example, how to write rows. It should be row number 1, for example, in this way. It should start with a capital letter and then lowercase letters, and so, and for example, it should be bold, and it's like little things, but there are so many little things that you need to pay attention, because if you write your pattern, you know how you usually do, and you don't think far ahead about like what will be here and what will be not need to be done here, and so on. So following the style guide was like, okay, I need to pay attention what I'm doing here, and I need to write it in this specific way. It's not like I'm saying it's like a better, not so, no, it's a good thing, because all the patterns that will be in 4 issues, they will be written the same way. So no matter how which one of the pattern you will be reading, you know that, for example, in this particular space you will see this stitch or this chart or this thing, and you will know how to find things in the pattern, because they will be all the same way written. So, and I was going through all this style guide, and decided to not change, but to write template for my patterns. That's I would like to write my way. So, and like, for example, I had already my template, but it was more like, okay, here's the name, here's the bottom, that's it. But I tried to do more specific thing in template so I can remember, because I didn't have too many patterns, but it's about, I think, 20 or so right now. But anyway, some are patterns crochet, some are patterns for needles, so they usually do a little bit differently. And maybe I'm not doing the usual way to write a pattern, but I try to find, when I do write a pattern, I try to find more natural way how I will be seeing it and how I'll follow this specific pattern. And maybe not all my patterns written the strict particular way. So I don't know, if it's a good way or maybe I need to improve this way. We'll see. But so following the style guide give me some ideas, maybe what I can add couple things to my patterns. And at the end of last year, before I start the indie gift along on Ravelry, it was a big event. You can it was already gone, so I've been doing sorry, I've been doing this end of November and during December. So anyway, before this big event, I also add extra page to my patterns. Before I didn't think to include this page, but now, for example, I include this page with like a little bit about me, all the places where you can find me, because during last year, for example, I started YouTube channel and I start adding pattern to different platforms. And so if you got my pattern and in one place and you have no idea what is going on there about me and where you can find more or something, so this is page like that I include right now in all my patterns. Okay, so I started about inTandem actually, and I finished pattern for winter issue for inTandem magazine. It's already in tech editing phase, so I send it. I need to hear from a tech editor to see if I need to do some improvements or something. And after this point, I'll be starting a test call. So probably soon, I hope soon. Anyway, super excited about this part. But yeah, all the info will come later, because I don't know exact point when I can open test call right now. And so pattern is done for winter issue, and our plan for inTandem, we will be doing photo shoot for all the samples almost at the same time. So even my pattern for summer issue need to be done later. My sample need to be finished soon, because kind of soon, I need to send this both of my samples for a photo shoot. and I was working during this January to finish to finish my sample for summer issue. It's done. It's already blocked. So I already did all the measurements, put all the numbers like gauge and measurements and so on. So I can write the pattern a little bit later. And so I'm super happy that 2 samples are done. And but I can show you right now, sorry. It will be revealed later when we starting going close to the publication days. So samples for inTandem done, and what else? Oh yeah, as I was doing a sample for summer issue, so it's a crochet sample, and I decided to include one video that might be helpful, but it's not only for specific this sample because it's very common kind of stitch. And I made video how to do alternative double crochet and treble crochet. So instead of first turning chain in beginning of the row, you will be doing alternative double crochet or treble crochet depending on in a place for in this sample. So video already uploaded on YouTube, and show a small clip on Instagram. You can find it. Okay, what else? I have a list today. So I don't forget anything. Okay. Yeah. I think it's done about designing part for this month. And I already told at the beginning about stitch patterns that I'm doing bi-weekly, and putting these stitch patterns on Instagram, and also you can find them on website. So and this month was 2 things. This small cables. What was the name of small cables? Okay. Small cable? Yeah, small circle cable. So I decided to go with this stitch pattern because this is kind of close to the stitch pattern that I used in cowl. And second one for this month was sunset and sunrise stitch. I found in one of stitch dictionaries that I have kind of close to this stitch pattern, and I grabbed the name. I showed in a stories a couple days ago my table with all different stitch dictionaries that I have, all these crazy stitch swatches that I have, and I try to find common English name for all these stitch patterns in stitch dictionaries. So I don't need to think about the name, because in my old notebook where I have all these stitch patterns, you see they're all different, and many of them. So some the name of this stitch, like okay, stitch number 5 or something. And I tried to find the name for this stitch pattern in English stitch dictionaries. So this was my like a crazy puzzle to find some names. So this was published, 2 stitch patterns this month. Okay, and I did already also several projects, not big projects. Okay, anyway, some projects. Let's start with this small thing. Last month I show you 3 of Christmas baubles that I made, and 1/4 that I didn't finish because I didn't have. First I didn't have yarn. Then when I got yarn, I didn't have a plastic bubble that you put inside. And this month I was going to find the yarn for different project and went to Michael's, and it's like Christmas clearance something shelf, and there it is, all these clear bubbles that I need. So I grabbed one to finish these bubbles, and I grabbed 3 extra because I have 3 extra hooks on my mantle over the fireplace so probably in November or December I'll be doing more of these cute things. So, and right now it's because this is with a heart, it will stay over the fireplace like a almost Valentine's Day decor. So I finished this and it's done. And I went to Michael's to find the yarn for other project. Sometimes I participate in yarn bombing projects. So what it is. So we create some pieces out of yarn, then putting these pieces at some places. Usually one big project is in our small town Bexhall in North Carolina. It's near local yarn shop, big wall, and every year we have different team. So last year we did hot air balloons. Previous was big rainbow out of flowers. So, and every year different things. So, and also sometimes I do couple things for other projects. For example, right now we craft CLT, so it's Craft Guild, Charlotte Craft Guild, I think the exact name is. They will be doing a craft fair in March, and right now they collecting squares for their big yarn bombing project that will be near this craft fair. So, and they making squares, yellow squares and white squares. So, and I made several. This is the one that I have right now, and I didn't give it where it should be. And this I made using corner to corner crochet, but I did also several others, and one was, I think, V-stitch, also one more corner to corner, and I made one type of granny square and posted on my Instagram, and then people will start asking what kind of pattern is this square, because it's not a typical granny square. And first it was like a DM, somebody asked me, and I decided to go and send a chart for this square, and then I decided to go and included this chart in a reel, and then I was thinking maybe reel it's not a good idea to use charts, and because I will be posting this chart in a regular post, I decided to go also and include like written directions. Okay, right now it's on a grid, and it's called sunny granny square. So because it's sunny yellow, sunny color, and also you see like a rays of the sun in the corners and in the middle. So it's, I don't know, maybe it's different name existed, but I don't know. I just did what I did and name it sunny granny square. So if you wanna see it, it's on Instagram. You can find it in a normal grid, or you can go to my website and find link to Instagram. Okay, so this is like a on a side project to make couple squares to help big yarn bombing project in Charlotte. What else? Okay, and yeah, also I did one more cowl this month. I was teaching a class about reversible knitting, and I made a cowl last month not last month, I think in November, during indie gift along, and I decided to go and make one more in Versatile yarn. So this is what I made, and it's not my pattern, it's pattern by Marie-Double Martin called Reversible Step Two Cowl, and the fun part is it's reversible. Here you see one side, here it's second side. So I was teaching a class, and this is what like to show what's need to be done and how it should be done for this cowl and how it's look, this reversible knitting. Okay. So one more, not exactly project, but I already finished it and give it. It was, so when I go to local yarn store, and we have a knit night every week, talking with people and making some project and so on. Also, people coming to the store sometimes with some problems, and the owner of the store try to find solutions for these problems and find people who can find solution for this problem. So that's happened that I took someone's unfinished cardigan to finish. So it was 4 pieces, not 4, 5 pieces, back to fronts, 2 sleeves, and the idea was to finish it all the put it together and finish button band, neck band, and so on. And it was kind of like a solve a puzzle thing for me. That's why I probably took it. So it was a pattern included in the bag with all these pieces. It was yarn and needles, so everything was there. But for example, I was going through the pattern and it was like a marking. For example, if you have pattern with several sizes, people start marking which side they're working on, yeah? So usually people do. And I was looking at this pattern, and some marking was, like, for example, this size, yeah? And I start counting stitches on actual size. It was a different size that was marked in the pattern. So it was like finding a place where to actually, so back and sleeves was done, but front was need to be finished. It was like maybe a couple inches on both fronts need to be finished. So I need to find a place where to finish, how to finish, what stitch pattern to use to finish, and so on. So it was, yeah, like a puzzle solving project more than actual knitting. But yeah, it was also finding rows for a button band, because I didn't do whole thing. I have no idea how many rows they have. So, and the pattern described, for example, for this size you need to cast on, not cast on, pick up and need so many stitches. But you need to find the rate, how fast you need to pick up these stitches, and to find this you need to find out how many rows it was in this pattern. So it was like a process. But I finished it, and I think last Tuesday a woman picked it up and was over the moon happy how I have done. So this was like a interesting project, but not my project exactly. So during January it was lots of different things I have done, and in all different areas, what I am designing and just a project and someone's project and a community project, and just like all these different things. But I'm super happy that was so many things happened, and I finished, especially that I finished 2 samples for inTandem, and they are done, and one pattern for inTandem already finished, and soon will be a test knit, and so, and first pattern, just my pattern, released this Rusty Keyhole Cowl is here, all unpublished. So pretty big month with lots of different things. And yeah, this was very interesting, and I'm happy about all these small and big projects. I think that's it. Okay, project, design, project. Okay. I have a list today, so I can look and see if I did and describe all the stuff that I actually did. So, as usual, I'll be placing this chat. So I see people, but I don't see any questions or something, comments. So if you have any questions, comments, and so on, it will be always a place to put them. And I'll put recording just as usual on a grid in Instagram and also on YouTube. So if you prefer YouTube and see there, you can see there. Okay, that's it for today. Have a nice day and see you in beginning of the what is next? March. See you guys. Bye.